Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Martin Wong. And today, Breakfast Show, Trading Idea with SMARTRobie, we'll be looking at the trending stock list. Now, that's right. Now, last night we did see the Dow Jones closing lower, and also we have an up move by all the rubber glove stock maker. So let's look and dive into our KLCI news headline, shall we? All right. Now, let's move on to our next. And today, don't forget to become our top fans. So all our top fans will get 300 SMARTRobie credit each month by becoming a top fans in our Facebook group. And how you want to do that is just follow the terms and conditions that we have for you in here, and do share and like our posts. That's all. All right, now let's go on to our Wednesday show, and Wednesday is the focus on the intermediate level in here. We'll be also looking at the sectors and also news highlight that we see in here. Definitely the trending stock on top that you see here are two stocks, Acostak and FIHB, and there's also a little case study for those of you who want to know more. Is DPI up 83% since the 17th of February, almost 6 weeks later on. But let's look at what we have intent for you today and our news headline. Now, our news headline is definitely the focus into the electric vehicle incentive. Now, having said that, our country is a nation car builder, and we also export crude oil. So it is still pretty much the national car policy focusing on fossil fuel. So a report that came out from the Maybank Investment Bank talk about the need to go for low carbon mobility blueprint, where instead of going into fossil fuel powered vehicle, into battery electric car vehicle. What do you think? Do you plan to buy an electric vehicle if there are one coming out soon? And in Malaysian context, which is our national car maker Proton, which is majority owned by Geely, and they are also shifting their focus into the electric car movement in here. But this report also talk about there are the alternative, which is the hybrid cars. But many of those hybrid cars currently been in the market. People buying it because it's cheaper, not so much it is electric car. Do you agree with this statement in here? People buy cars because it's cheaper, not so much whether they're concerned about the environmental in here. But having said that, I think going forward, the next generation, in terms of those who are concerned with climate change in here, electric vehicle, those especially powered by battery, will be the mainstay in here. And there is a trend growing towards that. You can see some of our local companies like Great Techs are moving into that, and there is generally a way to move forward, the electric car. All right, now also looking at the pinning the hopes on the Bursa Malaysia that we want to see so far. Let's take a look at what the market has for us. Now, the outlook of the stock market currently is still pretty much stuck, and I'm going to show you this morning in here. If you go over to the KLCI market, let me just switch to a wider chart, which is on this side of the screen here, and you hit that one. So what we have seen this market right now, all right, this you can see this market today is down 6 points. We are up 6 points, we are down 6 points. So that is definitely pinning the hopes that whether we can break higher in here. Let me just pitch this up here. You can see the 1620 and the 1640 on this level in the chart in here. That's the question in here. Now, while many of the US market and I think the regional market is not much of a different too in here, but we are comparing to the big brother. The big brother in this case is the Dow Jones in here. What do you think? Do you think our market can break through that 1620 and 1640 that you see on the left hand side of the chart? But the thing that is contained to be very positive is the blue trend zone. That's why we see the green pentagon in here. I wouldn't be surprised going forward that our market break down, break up, break down, break up, and that's going to be the theme, at least going into the political showdown that we're going to have, which is the 1st of August, where the declaration of the so-called emergency, whether we're going to switch back, and also the COVID cases in Malaysia continue to underpin a lot of the good hopes that the market is going to. All right. But let's also focus on the top gainer, and the most active stock is KSX, up 31%, Ucrest 1.7%, and Minda, which is continue to get a lot of news because of Tan Sri Lim Vichai bought into this small percentage of stakeholder in Minda. Sasadi, also education, also going up, and EduSpec is also 80 million. So right now, education seems to be up. So that really tells you our market is really driven a lot by sentiments and by what we call key influencer. In this case, we have Tan Sri Lim Vichai going to it, and he did put up an article meeting with the Star in here. Should check it out on the Star Media about what he has to say. Top gainer continue to be a lot of this. Item number 2, 8338, data prep. All right, so data prep, it's up 20% this morning. Let's look at data prep, and you can see right now data prep is still hasn't turned green pentagon yet, and like it or not, this is where sometimes following SMARTRobie on the green pentagon you will avoid this, right? And it only sort of tell you when it's a bit safer, when a lot of these stocks tend to move by big amount, 30% move that we get. We have to be very, very careful in here. I think at the end of the day, you want to be in, but you still want to be able to make money. There is still a lot of excitement in there, but when you lose money, that's not really exciting, isn't it? All right. So the win rates for data prep is only 58%. Do check it out in there, right? And let's go on to our next story that we have for you right now. So the next story that we have for you is global oil demand. Now this is also from an analyst report from M-Bank in here. M Investment talking about crude oil is likely going to move up to $60 in here. Now being that our country with the national oil producer Petronas will definitely benefit from it, and also not to forget our budget 2021 in here. But the report talks about 3 stocks that you should take out: Yinsun, the Server Dynamic, which I always talk about having one of the best ratings in terms of it, and also Dialog. So let's take a look at Yinsun. Okay, Yinsun, and we're going to check on and to the fundamentals too about Yinsun, right? So go right at the bottom there, switching to a wider chart. So you can see Yinsun in here is rated 2, 3 being a more investment grade. Having said that, the PE is quite reasonable, just below the sector average. ROE 17%, that's better than most, 7% in here. Pays a small dividend in here. Of course, you can see the top shareholder as updated on the annual report 6th of May 2020. It does tell you Yinsun EPF is some of the bigger player in here. Let's look at the Server Dynamic, SEB. Okay, Server. That's right, hit that one, double hit, and you have Server Dynamic looking at the fundamentals in here, right? And you can see Server Dynamics is 7 out. It cannot get better than this with a low PE in here and have a dividend of 3. So having said that, that is why you see a lot of star, right, at PE, ROE, and dividend. All right, so that is, and it seems to be owned by personality, CEOs, Abdul Kadir Sahib. So this is one of the stocks, but it hasn't made much movement yet. Let's look at the stock charts here, all right, and see where it goes, right? Continue to head towards downwards. Maybe you just need to wait for the green pentagon for it to come out this morning. And let's see this news this morning about the global uptick. Will this cause the livestock prices to go higher? All right, what's the price? Still minus 0.6% in here. And of course, let's look at Dialog too, and check out Dialog. Okay, we double click that one, and we go on to stock comment here. Dialog again, owned by a lot by EPF in here, not rated because the PE, it seems to be very pricey in here, and ROE almost 12% compared to sector average about 7% in here. So out of those 3, if you ask me, I will rate Server Dynamics, Yinsun, then finally by Dialog, of course. Okay, let's look at the chart wise in here, stock chart and stock comment based on this morning news. Right, again, very similar, just moving sideways. And this is going to be pinned a lot by the oil price movement in here. At one point, we have the national car policy which focus on fossil fuel. Another one, there is an urgency to move to a low carbon base, which is switching to a battery electric vehicle. So there seems to be some sort of conflict going forward as a country, as a nation in here. Where do we go, fossil fuel or the climate change environmental? What do you think? Do you think that this spells good for our country in here? All right, let's move on to our next news. All right, so our next news is going to be on Kosan. That's right. Now Kosan, we've seen a lot of rubber glove this morning started to move up. How do I know that? Just go over to the top gainer, just on top of me here. You can see just up there, top gainer here. Kosan, it's up 7%. Supermax is up 4%. Hata is up 1.9% in here. I think the others like the rubber racks, those should pose well because of the COVID cases. A lot of people talking we are in wave 3.5, maybe wave 4, and the cases continue to rise. So rubber glove seems to be back in play. But the significance of this news is Kosan earnings first quarter, the first quarter Q1 top 1 billion for the first time, intend to pay out 1/3 of the profit as dividend. And so those of you who have rubber glove will be, sort of way laughing to it. Let's take a look at Kosan, where it is. So type in KOSS, hit that one. And let's look at the stock chart and stock fundamental here. So you can see this is where, if you have gone in much early on the green pentagon that you see on just top of me here, switching to a bigger chart on this side of the chart here, you could see around 4th of May, you'll be already in the money in here. And it actually came down from a very far stretch, as far back on the right hand side, you can't even see it. And that was the yellow trend zone, which means the market's down until you just wait for the green pentagon to turn, and blue trend zone means you still want to ride it in here. But a lot has been said about this. There are some projections in here. Let me just go through it. Stock performance are good. First time hitting 1 billion, up. Net profit almost 1,500% up in here. This again, and still the Malaysian Association of Rubber Glove are projecting a 15 to 20% global demand, with the global demand around 420 billion. So growth still there. And why isn't this going higher? Of course, let's look at the stock fundamental that we have. All right, and that should be rated of 5. That's right, rated 5, and that also tell you it's being pretty much bad value. So do take note, the PE of 4.71, as the market go higher, right, this PE will subsequently, and we did see some of the earlier one, I think way back sometime last year during August or September, when we seen also stocks like the public bank have about rating 4 and 5. As it go higher, the PE will move up. I think there is a good chance the PE can move to 6 times. You can see in the left hand side at 7.5 times. Currently now it's only 4, giving it a $6 profit targets, which is about another 60%. What do you think? Do you think this has a more room to go? Do let us know and put it into your comment too. All right, let's move on to our next news. So our next news is going to be on Focuspoint, which is optical. You see them a lot on shopping malls in here. But having said that, opticals have can only do so much. In malls, so they are really focusing on F&B sales in here. And F&B sale has been impacted during the COVID-19. Let's take a look at the stock price. How has this market is? So Focus SP. Okay, and go on to stock comment, stock chart. So switching to a bigger chart here and hitting it. It's sort of moving sideways, low volume. We have green pentagon moving in here and still below 90 cents. So it's pretty much, if you are into it. Let's look at the fundamentals of this stock here. All right, stock fundamental is 1 rating, just 1 rating. Now, of course, those of you who are first time in our breakfast show, do download a copy of SMARTRobie in here, and there are a referral code on the right hand side of the screen. You can download it and you will get what you see in this time. Really helps you a lot. Of course, we also be looking at some of the trend ideas in here too. All right, give us a shout, give us a thumbs up if you like what you see so far in here. And also, let's move on to our next news. Now, next news is going to be on Advanced Con, which used to be traditionally a construction company, but they have mixed its move into renewable energy. And of course, the LSS4, the large solar projects, which is part of Malaysia commitment to the Paris Accord. Okay, Paris climate change, trying to make 20 or 25% of our so-called power consumption coming from renewable energy, and that has given out a lot of incentive to companies like SL West, Samadan, even Tanjong, Tenaga. They're all coming in here. But the side note of this project talks about the 17 ongoing projects that they have, and Advanced Con. Let's look at Advanced Con this morning in here. Those of you who like to have a bit of play on this subject, Advanced Con, hit that one. And let's look at stock price. Do take note, in this same report, we have a target price of 54 cents. 54 cents. And let's look at the market now. It's 45 cents. So likely we're going to see a pullback. Are we seeing a pullback this morning in here on this good news? Advanced Con. No, it's up another 4.5% in here because of this news that you see. All right, this news that you see in here tend to be very positive. So usually, many times, I have to say, the target price of 54 cents, they would not reach it. And it's somewhere around maybe 49. You look for climatic patterns and maybe you want to take some profit in here. Of course, right now, the sentiments for renewable energy seems to be very strong in here, okay? So let's move on to our next slide, which is across the US. Now, the Dow Jones last night fell by, I think, about 200 or 300 points. It does, I think 54 points, that's right. So it had made new high definitely in here. And a news article that was carried by Barron's talk about why the stock market is down. There are 4 reasons in here. Let me just sum it up for you in here. One is the continued COVID cases, which is still ongoing. Glowing grower. We saw India, Brazil, even Japan and Korea see some sort of bit of rises, and also in Hong Kong, which have well controlled. And vaccine blood clot, which is the J&J, we can see that in here. So the suspension of the Johnson & Johnson, and that somehow delayed the economy going forward in here. So of course, one last reason I think many of you is profit taking. As the market go higher, when you see this kind of bad news, and you see also Bitcoin been taking a hit because of the banning from the Turkish government on, and also a comment from Janet Yellen about the Bitcoin profit taking. So you can see all this market seems to converge to a point where better take money than run. All right. So that's what we have this on the US market in here. And of course, some of our intermediate trade idea, you could see the leaderboard continue to make in here. We're able to pick new winners. Having said that, during the correction time, this is a site that you want to take actions, doing some sort of a plan in here. Take some profit in here if you want to run it in here. Have a strategy. I think that's very important. And that's something tonight I want to talk about. So make sure you join me 9:30 in here. I'll talk about it later in our show. Of course, let's move on to some of the lesson learned that we had. 14th of April, and 2 trade ideas that we talk about, Pentex and Scientex. Pentex are down 5% since we talk about the 14th April, and Scientex about 1%. So I'm just going to show you the chart in here, right? And I'm going to bring it in. All right, Pentex. It seems to be a lot of those stocks are going through a period, and you see here Pentex and all the tech stocks are, are feeling the impact in here. Pentex, which we selected in here, and this morning is down 5% in here, and it appeared a red pentagon. Now, do take note, if it closes below the ATR stop loss, that's a time where we need to exit, and that's something that is already fundamentally changed about the whole thing. You can see even on the volume flow and also the bullish bearish momentum, those are all pointing so-called on the sell side. All right, do take note of this. So this is the first one. Then the next one we had is Scientex, which has 2 things. The packaging, plastic packaging, will benefit from the COVID-19 because people are delivering more food orders. And the other one is property, and we know property recently has a comeback. So let's look at Scientex. Okay, hit Scientex here, and you can see Scientex is picking up very nicely, continue to go up. So while tech stocks is going down, you can see Scientex is moving up, and you have a nice spring inside here. It has been moving for a long time, very similar to Penta. Those are the trade patterns that we look for, but one just seems to break down. In this case, Sintex seems to be breaking up in here. So continue to let it run. I think that's pretty good in here. Let's go on to our next story that we have for you, which is our trade idea for today. Now, trade idea for the 21st of April, episode 60, and the time passes by, is Hextar and Lotte Chemical, LC Titan. All right, so let's look at the first one, Hextar Global. Wow, this one is big. Now, if you have gone in since the first green pentagon around here, buying at the opening, so be here, right, and you drag your part to this part here, that would be a 63% upwards. All right, very nice one, that 63% upwards. You could probably be holding for February, March, April. All right, so you could hold it for 3 months and then take some profit, or you could let it run in here. So we are looking into this as a trade idea. The other one is LC Titan. Okay, Lotte Chemical Titan, and it just turned green pentagon. You have an uptrust. Let's see next week. We'll come back whether it's going to go higher like Sintex, or it will go through a Pentax in here. But definitely on the green pentagon in here, it's coming out from a low base. So those are the two trade ideas for episode 60. All right. Now let's move on also to the next segment in here is the news. So let's talk about the news so far, and I want to pay your attention to this news in here. Very positive. The KLSE sentiment in here seems to be up, right? Up for the midday. LCC, IWCT seems to be the only positive one. We can take a look at that one too if you want to just type it in there. But that points to hopefully this will carry us higher. If not, let's move on to our next story in here. Is our weekly or the daily Pentagon Guider lesson that we always share about. If you go and backtest what we had for the Pentagon Guider example, we made about 106% for over a period of 35,000 in here. And right now we are up about 15.5%. Now remember, this is a moving target. It can go up, it can come down, but the whole point is to keep it positive compared to KLSE at minus 2%. 15.5% up to April. All right, we will give you another update later in here, and that is the overall artwork that we have for you. 15.5 versus a minus 2% in here. All right. So let's look at the hot sectors that we have. You can click on hot sector in here. Healthcare, Translogic, Technology, and Telco. So you can look at transport in here. Seems to be the next up and coming in here. So you can see it is sorted by the what we call large cap stocks. MISC, Airport, all right, Corp, Lita, and Tasco. Tasco is the green pentagon, and we have picked that in the past. 5146. Let's look at the stock chart and stock comment in here. So if you do have time, this is how you want to spot out those sectors, what we call sector rotation. A very simple way to look at it. You can see during green pentagon in here, a very nice up move in here. And very important is make sure this is not covered by a lot of the news. By the time it gets into news, it's time usually to go through some sort of distribution. Let's look at the live stock prices in here. So we hit that one. Okay, live stock prices. Oh, it's still up 2.5% in here, 2.5%. So that is going to be very, very positive. So of course, you can also look at the other rubber glove, which we talked about earlier, but definitely transportation, no one is talking about it. All right. So let's go on to our next in here. So the next one is usually the conceptual map. What we want to see is the continuation after the line change that we see on this chart here. Right? Will we see? All right. The line change, okay, we have, and the market seems to move. You can see on the right hand side we have two bars. We want it to break above the 120 and 130 moving forward in here. That is the line change, the concept of line change moving forward backed by volume. Okay, now don't forget, those of you who want to know more about especially those of you who just type 1 being the first time in here, do check out the sign of strength, sign of weakness in here. That's a QR code. There's a lot more information for me to share with you on the very short tutorial in here. So we're going to go on to the next segment is the tonight live talk. So just want to remind all of you, join us tonight at 9:30, and my team in here has researched a very interesting topic, and I think that I think tonight talk were able to help you, to put you in some perspective whether it is possible to make $1 million in the KLSE market in here, or even in the US market in here. What do you think? Do you think it's possible or not? Give me a thumbs up in here, and I'll see you tonight definitely on this talk, right? So don't forget to become our top fans, and top fans get 300 smart credit in here. And also right now we're going to be doing our stock review. That's right. Now again, usual, we will give preference to some of our feedback who given feedback earlier, and also some of our masterclass member. If you not, just go over to these two QR code that you see, the Google Play Store and Apple Play Store, and give us a feedback, and we will put you in first priority to look at some stock. So let's look at some of the stocks I have seen in here. All right, definitely first one is Tasco, Ucrest. All right, and review for MTEL. Okay, since I've done that, so I'm just going to do the next one here. Just switch to MTEL. So let's look at MTEL now. MTEL. Bring it up here. Now, MTEL, like it or not, hasn't turned green pentagon. So I believe Abul is one of our masterclass students, so you're able to go in early. Now, do take note, those of you who are beginner, have not attended our masterclass, so you stick to the green pentagon. If you have done, you could have gone in much earlier in here and able to ride. This is still pretty good. At one point in time, you will see green pentagon coming up, right? So that could be a time for the beginner to go in. If not, just trade based on chart pattern, all right? So let's also look at the other side here, and let me see. All right, whether we have any more stocks you want me to look at. Okay. Any stocks you want me to look, just type it in there. I'm trying to look for it. Okay, we have Abul, also Astino. That's a nice one, Astino. Let's look at Astino. All right, Astino has NS, broke through, continue to go higher. That's pretty good. Okay, and those of you who trade NS, you will know the higher win rates, all right, from our NS screener. If not, go over and subscribe to our NS, and also Euro. Abu likes to trade all the NS. Okay, Euro. Okay, Euro has it. Nice congestion in here, hasn't run. So normally those of you who trade the NS, you are always ahead of the market, all right? Okay, let's look at the others, right? POA, okay, we are looking for my those top reviewer in here. Okay, we got Miss Lee here, Size Corp, SYS, CROP. Okay, that looks very good too. You got a spring, very classic move. And this is what we always talk about, the conceptual map, and that's why you're able to pick it. And again, Abul and Miss Lee are two of our graduates from our masterclass, so they're able to pick this stock much better in here. All right, we have Yang here, and Senso. Senso, I think, has run a lot from the very, and this was actually covered a lot by the news. Okay, usually things that covered by news, do take note. They tend to move up, okay, in here. But we could have reached probably the high. Just take note of this kind of thing. It could be another data prep, shoots high and just turn. And this is because due to the partnership that they had with Microsoft in here. Okay, I want to see a few more if I can. Okay, we have KGB. KGB here. KGB still good. You got still spring inside there, so that looks all good. And we probably do a last one for Elaine. Okay. Now, those of you who want to have first preference in here, yeah, this looks good. Maestron, you got to take out. This is a nice pullback in here. Continue to push up. No problem with this one. You got a lot of nice NS, and if you back up by NS, these stocks will definitely move much better. So thank you again for those of you who has given us feedback. If you like and enjoy our breakfast show, do go over to the Google Play Store and give us a feedback and how we can improve ourselves and our program for you purely for education purposes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you're able to follow this more closely, and all our videos are archived and put into YouTube for education. And those of you who are first time, do join our Telegram chat room in here, and you will get all the information free of charge to enhance your growth in the market. And don't forget tonight, right? 9 p.m. I'll see you tonight. How to make $1 million in the stock market. See you then. Bye-bye.